Welcome, beautiful souls, to the Beyond the Belief podcast. I'm your host, Lavender Loveway. With each episode, I invite you personally to join me as we explore a belief. It might be a widely held idea or a forgotten truth, or perhaps even one that feels unknown or deeply contested. This is a sanctuary for exploration, a place to absorb, listen, and learn with an open heart. We're shedding the heaviness of right and wrong and ascending into the lightness of greater connection and expansive knowledge. Today's episode is no exception. This is another precious opportunity to find a little gem or two of wisdom that helps you reweave your own tapestry of truth. I'd love to share with you a deep message that my guides have walked me through almost every facet of, mainly because I had a challenging time seeing it for what it really was. And instead, my ego stepped in or my emotions kind of took over, and I kept seeing it through a certain lens or from a certain perspective. I wasn't able to get kind of the full perspective of the picture. You, my friend, are the architect of your life experience. I know some can use the word control, taking lead, taking initiative. I'm going to wrap all of those things together into the word architect. So this is what I mean by being the architect. Leading with the architect energy is to really stand in your power and in your light. Our life experience here on Earth is about how, understanding the how, understanding the gravity, understanding the potential, and experiencing what it's like to be an architect of creation, an architect of energy, an architect of experience. What it comes down to at the end of the day is choice. And often when we're in situations where we feel, for whatever reason, that we don't have a choice, this seems to be the moment where we decide that we just don't. And we never do. And this always happens. If those thoughts are running through your mind, this is a beautiful invitation and opportunity to take a moment to sit down and to almost zoom out, as I always affectionately say, like seeing it from the perspective of our guides. So going up to 100,000 feet or 1,000,000 feet and seeing things from the higher perspective. Because when we're able to get up there, we realize that in the big scheme of things, we are the architect. We are the architect energy in inviting in what we experience in every single moment. But I think for me, where I struggled, shall we say, or where the disconnect was for me, was really understanding that if I didn't step into my light and my power and make the choice for me, that somehow it might be made for me, or it might be made in lieu of me. And then I would find myself in a situation where I would feel powerless, or I would feel like it's not my choice, or I would feel like I cannot be the architect in my life. There's a fundamental law that governs creative power on Earth. It's not complicated. We like to make it complicated because our egos get involved and it has to be about blame and labeling and figuring out who's the one that did it. But it's really actually very simple. It is a universal law of permission, of free will, that there is always a choice. Always. We might not desire the choice. We might not want to make the choice now. But there is always a choice. And for me, the power came when my guides shared this, and I'd love to read it to you. But what you will, what you permit, is what happens. It is all permission. Everything is permission. This is the law of free will, the law of free choice. Now, when my guides shared this through one of my channeling sessions, I will be honest, this was a time that I really needed to hear this, and I about fell out of my chair. Because what works in tandem, or can work essentially against, this lovely permission and choice is our beliefs, our belief system, and our expectations. And if we are in moments where we feel that we don't have something. We have expectations that we're failing, or that we don't have it, or we're never going to have it, or it never happens to me. And then we reinforce those expectations with our beliefs because I'm not worthy. I don't deserve this. I shouldn't have this. Only other people can have this. I can't. This is actually where we get stuck. This is where we get trapped. And I will speak from experience. Not believing in myself, not loving myself enough to not only look at the choices that are before me, because there's always a choice. Always, always, always. And then understanding that it is about permission, which can be about boundaries, which can be about declaring what's important for you in your life experience, in your relationships. This can be work, this can be love life, this can be friends, it can be anything. But we essentially start making or mapping the blueprint. And this is why I like the term architect, because if I'm the lead architect of my life, I'm looking at my life, hopefully from that higher level perspective. And I think that's what's number one. We need to get there to at least be willing to have curiosity and see it from that perspective. What does it look like from up there? What does this decision or this choice look like from up there? At 100,000 feet or 1,000,000 feet, is it that big of a deal? Or is it that big of a deal? When we start to gain the perspective, then we start to firm up what we can do, our expectations around our boundaries and our bandwidth and our execution and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then we reinforce those things or make those things happen or make those things not happen by our beliefs. And it's the practice, kind of the interweaving of our beliefs and our expectations that then literally become the blueprint of our current reality. Because I will say this, if you choose a fruitful path, you will find it. If you choose to believe that you're receiving help, you will receive it. If you choose to see the solution, you will see it. And just the same, if you choose to make a different decision or to set a certain boundary or to make a certain choice, it shall be done. As my guides affectionately love to remind me, if they see what they will happens, they would understand that there is nothing to fear. And for me, my friends, this is where I struggled the most. This was the mountaintop summit that I was attempting to get to multiple times, and I couldn't figure out how to best get it there. And of course, there's the magic words right there. Trying to figure it out with my logical mind, trying to solve a metaphysical problem with my ego mind is not going to happen. But I could not see the illumination of the path, that what I will to happen, that's through belief, that's through expectation, that's through faith. That is all what I will to happen. And if I see it from that perspective, that what I will happens, then there is nothing to fear. Because what am I fearing? If I host fear, I cannot achieve. I cannot get to the finish line. I cannot get to the summit because the beliefs are the ones that make that true. I end up holding it in my heart. And even if I'm saying something different, my heart is radiating the vibration of this deeper seated belief that even though I'm telling myself I can, I don't, because I hold something inside that tells me it's not possible. It's like I'm trying to convince myself of something that I know, quote, quote, I know will not happen. That is often tied to fear. And I will say this, that calling it forth into your existence, whatever it is, whatever to your heart's content, whatever it may be, if you truly desire it and you truly allow your thoughts, your perspectives, your heart energy to be tied to it, then it will. That's also a law of the universe. And if you find that you are wanting and moving and desiring something that just isn't coming true, it just isn't coming forth, the first thing to do, which truly freed me, was to understand the belief system that's keeping that thing in my reality. Because there's something, and maybe it's deep down. Maybe it is something that has been, it's like I used to say, I kind of had a record playing of things my parents used to say. And sometimes it's playing and you don't even know it's playing. It's been playing for so long that it's like background music. And until it stops, that's when suddenly you're like, what the heck? This is interesting. It's so quiet in here. It could be that. And when we get into these trails, these circles of thinking, what do I desire and what do I want? And I want this to happen and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you start to get expectations. You start to kind of summarize, oh, this means it's not going to happen. This is where I would gently invite you to ponder, what are you believing? What is in your heart? Because whatever is in your heart will become true. Whatever that is. If it's the doubt, if it's the fear, if it's the love, if it's the manifestation of the thing you're desiring, whatever it is that your heart holds on to, that is what you will experience. But the foundational thing that I want to share, despite all of this, right? So there's all these choices. We obviously have quite a smorgasbord of our beliefs and our expectations. But this is the beautiful thing about this experience that I think most all of us forget. In any given moment, in this very moment that you are listening to this video or this podcast, you are listening to my words, you can make a change. You can. I will say it again for good measure. You can change. You can make a different choice. You can make it right now. Because remember, if what it is that's in our heart is what basically wills something into existence, if you change right now what's in your heart, things start shifting. And part of that is that as the architect, if your heart suddenly shifts to something different, you as an architect start acting different. You start taking different actions. You start looking at things differently. It is not vice versa. We are heart-driven beings. We might think that we're mind-driven beings. This world is very mind-driven. We are very rewarded for being mind-driven. But our mind is really the executioner of what our heart deems, what our heart wills. That's why love is so powerful, because it is the driver of all. It is in first position. And the reason why I say that you have the choice right now, in this moment of now, is because around you, there are literally billions of stimuli, of options, of opportunities, of choices. They are truly endless. It is only our mind that prevents us from seeing them. So if you are feeling in a position that you can't see anything, you feel trapped, there's nothing here for you, this is an invitation to connect inward, to go upward, to get to that higher visibility point, because there are options. And I will say this from experience. Sometimes you've gone so far in one direction. If I'm the architect, I've built and constructed this building and I've been working on it for months, let's say, and I really don't want to do the 10-story building. I really want to just do the 1-story. But if I change it, what about all this work that I did, that I've been pouring my heart into? You start rationalizing. This is your mind. This is an action of your heart. What does your heart say? I want a 1 level. Then by golly, go to that blueprint and just demolish it, erase it, tear it up and start over. Why not? I know it is work. It is effort. You might be duplicative in things you've already completed, but now you have your heart in the place where it needs to be. It's heart-centered. This is where we need to reside. This is when we start to will the things that we start to experience in our life experience, in our reality. It comes down to this, my sweet dear friends. What you focus your consciousness on, this is what comes true. What is your consciousness focused on right now? What is the deepest desire of your heart that you are neglecting, that you are trying to ignore, that you're trying to pretend, la 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 la, because you don't want to start over, because you don't want to start anew, because you don't want to. Why don't you want to? If you're following the will of your heart, you should be invigorated and filled with so much joy and excitement and love and energy that by golly, you can tear up all of those drawings, all of those blueprints that you have, and start fresh. You can. And if you want to, you will. You may think you do not, but you do. You do have a choice. You always have a choice. See this as an invitation to finally connect with the thing that's actually driving your whole life forward. As an architect, connect with your heart first. And there, as things change there, through our beliefs, through our expectations, and through our true desires, this is where change actually happens and reflects instantly into what we experience in every single moment. I believe in you. You can make the choice. Do you believe in you?